from the gateway to showbiz glory. This is Hollywood 411.
Joining me now is Sara Wayne Callies, who fans know as Dr. Sara Tancredi. Thank you very much for joining us. What's happening there? What's going to happen to Michael?
Nothing good.
Oh,
it's prison break. It's
right?
There's always some degree of peril or another.
Sara seems to be in a tough spot because she really wants to help Michael, but he's the guy who wants to help everybody else. So how does that play out?
I think, to be honest, with a lot of frustration. I think these two have come to the point where they're in a relationship now that's on the familiar ground that most people can relate to, where you've got your partner's agenda and you've got your agenda, and you're kind of trying to make them work. And his agenda is saving the world, and her agenda is saving him. But it's still just two people trying to figure it out.
I have a feeling she will assist in the surgery. Am I right? I could be right.
You're actually not right.
Not right at all.
I swear to, I'm sorry. I don't want to be rude.
It's okay. It's okay.
No, I think it's so far beyond her training. You know, I mean, she's a general practitioner. She's somebody who has practiced medicine primarily in really rugged circumstances, Doctors Without Borders, and then Fox River in the prison. And I think neuroscience is, you know, Sara, I think, is the kind of woman who would say, well, look, I'm not a brain surgeon. She might be a doctor, but you're not going to see her sort of can-opening Michael's head and sort of getting in there. No Silence of the Lambs, no, none of that.
All right, let's back up a little bit because Sara has really kind of done the impossible. She came back from the dead. I got to say, earlier in the year, I got panic emails from my sister in Louisiana saying, Sarah's not dead? How did that happen? So please explain for all of us, how did that happen?
Prison Break is a show that's known for many wonderful things. Credibility and realism, not really among them. I think there are some shows that do that incredibly well, and we have chosen to focus on other things. I mean, what happened in the literal sense is fans, maybe like your sister, made an awful lot of noise and convinced the powers that be at Fox that they needed this woman back on the show. And that was extraordinary. That was, I mean, I almost can't overstate the way it felt. It was sort of heart-stopping for me as an actor to have people
Did you know it was happening as it was happening, as the fans were kind of building up and saying, we want her back, we want her back?
Not much. I mean, I was sort of a new mom at the time and was just sort of thinking, diaper, feed baby, baby sleep.
Which is one of the reasons why you weren't on the show anymore.
Yeah. And so, you know, when I got the call, I actually thought initially it was a joke. I was like, yeah, nice to hear from you too, very funny, I have to go. And they were like, no, really, it's time to come back to work. And the way they talked about it in terms of figuring it back into the plot is, I understand, I haven't seen the episode, but I understand the head in a box thing looked not quite realistic because Fox apparently couldn't get a human head to put in a box.
Right.
Can't imagine why on network television.
And I find that whenever you put a head in a box, it never looks the way you think it's going to.
You know, they just don't photograph right.
Yeah.
This is creepy. Someone help. So I guess it didn't look like me, and they thought they could pretend it was someone else.
And it worked. It worked in your favor.
It did.
What do fans say to you when they see you on the street?
Usually not much. I mean, I've heard a lot. In the last year, I've heard a lot of "I'm so glad you're not dead," which is something you don't anticipate hearing much in your life. But my fans tend to be really sweet people who sort of say, hey, love your show, and walk away, which is wonderful. Often when I'm with Wentworth, some of his fans are a little more intense, and there's like a whole marriage and I want to have your kids thing that happens, and that can be a little much to deal with from a stranger.
Well, I am glad you're not dead. My sister is glad you're not dead. We're all glad you're not dead. Thank you for coming in.
Very kind of you.
All right, you can catch a new episode of Prison Break Monday nights on Fox, 9, 8 Central.